It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Kieft, joined as always by Kevin McIntosh. Kevin, glad to be back with you as we hit the midway point of this week.
Thank you for allowing me to join you again, Tyler. I appreciate it. Another day, another opportunity to talk to the community per usual, and we have a lot of things to talk about.
Yeah, Tuesday was a big day here in the greater West Bloomfield area. Of course, Election Day. We saw people get out to the polls during our live show on Tuesday. We saw them out at the polls, even despite the rain and despite the weather on Tuesday, Kevin. And per the Oakland County unofficial results, turnout a little bit low, but about what you would expect for a primary election, as people are really hyper-focused on November. Per Oakland County Clerk and Register of Deeds Lisa Brown's webpage, turnout about 24.88% across the county, and that is now with all precincts reporting. And there was a little bit of a slow trickle in from the Bloomfield Township and Bloomfield Hills area. Those were the last 20 or so of the 30 counties as of this morning that had not yet reported in full to the county. But we can say now, as of this live show, all 498 precincts in Oakland County have submitted their unofficial results to Oakland County. And that's where we want to start, Kevin. We have a link to these unofficial results on our website on civiccentertv.com. It's the first link in those sliding images you'll see at the top of the screen. You click on that, it'll take you to all the election results from across Oakland County in this August primary, and you can see these for yourself. You can choose your favorite races along the way to follow along as more information comes in. And the reason they're called unofficial results, Kevin, is because what happens is you submit your votes at the polls. Your precinct reports those to the county. The county then provides those unofficial results, and then there's a certification process that happens in the weeks following the election. And once those elections are certified by local election boards, then they become official election results. Now, typically, if there are any differences between the unofficial and the official results, there are minor differences, little discrepancies that are picked up when they go through those board of canvassers ultimately after the process. But Oakland County, 100% of precincts reporting. So let's get to some of the results in our local area. Some of the key races include the Michigan House of Representatives 20th District. Particularly the Republican candidates were the big ones to look out for on the ballot. Two were running for the chance to go up against Democrat Noah Arbit, the incumbent candidate, come November. And Brendan Crowley defeated Herman Barbet with about 56% of the vote in last night's election. We have reached out to the Cowley campaign, spoke to them this morning, and we were unable to get them with us on the live show today, but we'll work to get some comment from him later on, either in the program or later on this week on our website on civiccentertv.com. As for the Democratic side, of course, Noah Arbit running unopposed on the Democratic ticket, so he automatically would be moved on to the November ballot. But he did receive over 11,000 votes, quite emphatically, in the Democratic primary here in the 20th District. From the Michigan House of Representatives to the U.S. House of Representatives, it was a race on both the Democratic and the Republican side, with multiple candidates vying for that spot. Incumbent U.S. Representative Haley Stevens defeated Ahmed Ghanem in that race for the 11th District on the Democratic side, receiving 87% of the votes. As of this morning, they were at 87% of the votes as about 7:30, and that was reported late last night, early on in the race, with around 60% of precincts reporting that race was called in favor of Representative Haley Stevens. On the Republican side, close to home, Nicholas Somberg from West Bloomfield, an attorney, has defeated his challenger, Charles Frange, with 61.3% of the vote. So in November, the U.S. House of Representatives 11th District will be a battle between Republican Nick Somberg and U.S. Representative Haley Stevens, the incumbent Democrat. And then finally, the big one here in the West Bloomfield Township, a couple of big races around here, but the big one everyone had their eyes on was the West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation Bond. That bond that would ultimately lead to funding for a 33,000 square foot facility at the current Recreation Activity Center, a major upgrade that would include Connect Senior Center, having a permanent location, more recreation activities at that building, and improvements to our local parks. That passed emphatically with over 2/3 of voters in this election voting in favor of the West Bloomfield Parks bond proposal. That voted through yes, 66.34% of the vote. So really right on the dot, just about 2/3 of the vote in favor of this. In addition, in West Bloomfield Township, 4 Board of Trustees members on the Democratic ticket will move on to the November election. That includes one of our Parks and Recreation commissioners, Vincent Kirkwood, who's got a lot to smile about as he heads into this post-election period from the August primary. Will be on the ballot in November, one of 4 Democrats moving on that side. And there are no Republicans running for that, so you can presume that he will be joining the 3 incumbent candidates in Jim Manna, Diane Rosenfeld-Swimmer, and Jonathan Warshay on the Township Board come next year. He is with us right now on the Splash Live. Vincent Kirkwood, thank you for being with us, and congratulations on a successful election night.
Thank you so much. I'm still a little bit overwhelmed at last night. It was an exhilarating day.
And it was kind of a two-headed monster for you too, because not only are you running for the township board and you're focusing on your own individual candidacy, you're on the Parks and Recreation Commission, and that had a pretty big bond proposal on there too. So let's give your reaction first to the bond proposal passing. This is something we know that people in West Bloomfield love their parks, but what does that result say to you about how much they want West Bloomfield Parks to take their successful programs to the next level?
Absolutely. So we know that what we've been doing on the Parks and Rec board has been phenomenal. The staff, Kelly Heyer in her new position as executive director, we are committed to West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation. The board, all 7 of us, are committed to what we're doing. And I think that this bond passing to create a new recreation activity center kind of proves that the township, the residents of the township know what we're about, and we would only do it if we thought it would benefit the residents. And we think that this will benefit the residents 100%.
And we've talked before with Rob Brooks, the chairperson of the Parks and Recreation Commission, who has said to us, and so has Kelly Heyer and so many others from your team at West Bloomfield Parks, that this is not a new effort. This is something that the Parks and Recreation Commission has been working on for a long time. They haven't been able to come to an agreement internally. They haven't found something that would be favorable to the residents. So what was that conversation like between board members last night? You saw the results coming in, and from the jump, pretty emphatically a yes.
Absolutely. We were talking because I'm still a Parks and Recreation board member, and we were talking yesterday when it passed about how exciting this is going to be, how this is going to be great for the township, and we're excited to see it. We've been talking for the last, I want to say, 4 years about this, and we've been getting feedback from the residents and from the staff. And if we look at some of the surrounding areas of West Bloomfield and surrounding cities, we see stuff going up, we see things happening. So we're excited to be a part of this change, of this new recreation activity center right on the campus there of the Civic Center, or 4640 Walnut Lake Road. It's going to be great. You had talked about the things that we had planned on doing. If you look at the splash pad and you look at some of the things that we've done over the last couple of years, this is going to be no different. If not, it's going to be better, because we have commitment from the residents, commitment from the staff, commitment from the township, commitment from the board to make this something that is going to be special for the West Bloomfield residents.
Vincent Kirkwood is with us on the Splash Live, a Parks and Recreation Commission member. Their bond proposal passing with 2/3 of the vote in favor of it last night at in the election. So that project will be moving forward. We'll have more on that later on in the program, and our continued coverage of that going forward will continue to be extensive. On the other side of things, later down the ballot, Vincent, you were also a candidate for West Bloomfield Township Board. There were 4 spots available for the Democratic ticket come November, and of course all 3 of the incumbent members, Diane Rosenfeld-Swimmer, Jonathan Warshay, and Jim Manna, all among the other 3 moving on to November. You received just about 600 votes beyond the 5th place person in that race to get that nomination, and knowing that there aren't any Republicans on the other side competing, there's only 4 spots available, one can presume that the 4 of you will be on the township board. Give us your reaction to that. To that nomination by the people of West Bloomfield to say they want you to be amongst our 7 core leaders on the township board.
Well, I was appointed on the Parks and Rec board back in 2000, I believe it was 18, and then I ran again in 2020. It's not about me; it's about the residents. But I am excited because the residents are able to see me as someone who has been influential in growing the West Bloomfield Township persona, if you will. We started the West Bloomfield Diversity Task Force, and that has been fantastic over the last 4 years. And I founded that because I believe that the township of West Bloomfield needs to be very inclusive. During my campaign, I was looking and I was canvassing, and I realized that I went to a Baptist church, I went to a Lutheran church, I went to a synagogue. I talked to Asian people. I talked to Black people. I've talked to white people. I've talked to Indian people. It's been fantastic to see this melting pot of people and residents in the township. And I want to continue to celebrate that. That's one of the things I'm going to do as a West Bloomfield Township Board trustee. And you mentioned the 3 incumbents, Jim Manna, Diane Rosenfeld-Schwimmer, Jonathan Warshay, and all of them, Debbie Binder, everybody has been fantastic in supporting me in doing that. And I'm so excited to work with all of them. I think they've done a great job. And I'm excited to enhance that, not change anything that they're doing, but enhance the opportunities that are there so the residents can see that we are about the people.
Vincent, a lot of hard work ahead, both on your continued work with the Parks and Recreation Commission throughout the rest of this year and as you continue your campaign for Township Board. Anything else for us before we let you go today?
And I just want to thank the residents. I want to thank everybody that supported me. We're ready to make this happen in November. We're ready to work. I'm ready to work, and I'm an open book. So I'm all about transparency, and that was one of the core values and the pillars that I ran on. So feel free to reach out to me. You'll see me in the community, and let me know what it is you want so we can work to get that done for you.
Well, Vincent, thank you so much for your time. Congratulations, and hopefully a little bit of rest for you now that the first part of this election cycle is over.
Well, we've got our diversity task force picnic today, but maybe tomorrow I'll rest.
Hey, you know what? Anytime you can get it is a good time. Thank you so much, Vincent.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Received about 17% of the vote on the Democratic primary for Township Board. That is enough to get him qualified for the November election alongside 3 incumbent candidates on the Democratic side. Again, there are no Republicans running in that race come November, so 4 candidates will fill those board seats. The incumbents are running for their previous seats. Howard Rosenberg on the Township Board, of course, did not run for re-election. He is retiring from the board come the end of this term. So 1 open spot available come November that will likely be held by Vincent Kirkwood. On the other side, of course, as we mentioned, the West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation bond issue that features the new Connect Senior Center, additional recreation activities at that expanded center, and improvements to our local parks, emphatically passed with over 2/3 of the vote here in West Bloomfield Township. We talked to Executive Director Kelly Heyer earlier on in the week for some of the core details of this plan. Now we get a little bit more insight on where it goes from here after passing during the August 6th primary with a positive vote from the community. Joining us now from West Bloomfield Parks is their Marketing and Communications Manager, Megan Tahako. Megan, congratulations, and happy to have you with us.
Thank you so much, Tyler. It's a great morning.
Yeah, it's got to be a great morning. It's been a big effort for the entire team at West Bloomfield Park. It's a years-long effort, not only in the planning, but in the promotion of this and the PR campaign. For you, on this day after this bond passes, what's this moment like for you?
It's really rewarding. I mean, we've been working on this since probably 2019. COVID obviously threw a wrench in our initial plans, but this has been multiple years long process. So we're just very grateful. We've always had immense support from our residents, and this bond proposal was no different.
So now that this has passed, we've heard a lot about what the plans are, sort of the timeline of when we can expect the Recreation Activity Center expansion to be complete and some of these other parks improvements. But where does this process go from here now that it has passed and the work gets started?
Yeah, so I mean, we've been doing a ton of work leading up to this point, but our next steps are going to be to start working with architecture firms, doing interviews, seeing who might be a good fit for this community. We'll start putting together our bid specs for the Connect Community Center, finalizing our timeline for all of these capital improvements. And then we'll certainly be working with our partners over at the township and the bonding company to figure out a process for managing the funds, how that's all gonna look internally. So a lot of internal things need to be figured out, but we're hitting the ground running.
In the meantime, Megan, if people want to know more about this process, they want to still keep up to date with it as it moves forward, how can they get more information on the bond?
Absolutely. So we are absolutely committed to keeping our residents informed every step of the way. So our bond proposal page on our website is just going to transition to a bond update page. So the latest and greatest will be available on our website, wbparks.org/bond, and we'll continue to keep that page updated as things progress.
So I asked this of Vincent Kirkwood earlier on about the bond issue from the Parks and Recreation Commission side as those votes came in last night, as it was quite from the start pretty emphatically a yes from the people of West Bloomfield Township. What was that like internally with the day-to-day team at West Bloomfield Parks, who's really been doing the groundwork in making things happen in the Connect Senior Center, at our parks every day, and to make this what it is, such an emphatic support from our community?
Yeah, I mean, the support had been really positive leading up to yesterday's vote, but you never really know, right, how it's going to turn out. So we kept refreshing the results page and keeping a close eye on it. We stayed up late to make sure things were, still going the way that we hoped they were going. So it was just, I think everyone kind of breathed a sigh of relief just because so much work has been put into getting us to this point.
We are live, local, social with Megan Tahako from West Bloomfield Parks on the Splash Live. Following the August 6th primary, the West Bloomfield Parks bond issue passes with 2/3 of the vote. So now the Recreation Activity Center to undergo an expansion from its current 8,400 square feet to over 33,000 square feet as well. But Megan, it's not just a Recreation Activity Center expansion, a permanent home for Connect Senior Center. We can also expect with this bond some improvements to some of our individual parks throughout the community. When can those sort of be expected? I would imagine those may be something we see come to fruition before the Recreation Activity Center.
Yeah, I mean, certainly the build for the new Connect Community Center is going to take a couple years, but we will get started on our capital improvements starting next year. So top on the list there would be a playground at Pine Lake Park, which is our newest park that we have a lease agreement with Bloomfield Hills School District on. So we really are looking to make some upgrades in that park. And then we'll also be working on replacing the paved walking path at Marshbank Park next year as well.
Yeah, good news for your friends over at Bloomfield Hills Schools. Their bond proposal also passing their operating millage last night with 6,984 votes out of just over 10,000. So a lot of community support for many of our community organizations. Megan, anything else that we should know about this project at this moment, or what we should expect in the coming weeks and months in terms of progress and information?
Yeah, I would just encourage everyone to sign up for our weekly e-blast. That's a great way to stay informed with what we have going on. We certainly will continue to share things on our social media channels and then on our website as well. But we always are open to hearing from residents. If you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to us because we're still finalizing all of our plans. The images that we released are just concept drawings. So, we will be finalizing all of those plans in the coming weeks and months. So please continue to share your feedback with us and reach out if you have any questions.
More information is available on the West Bloomfield Parks website on wbparks.org/bond. And you can keep up to date on everything happening in the parks with the bond issue, with the capital improvements, and of course with fun events and initiatives all year round. Facebook.com/WBParks. Megan, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Tyler.
Appreciated. The bond passing with 2/3 of the vote, 66.34% of West Bloomfield voters voting in favor of that bond during the August 6th election. That is an open and shut case. That bond proposal has passed through. About $35 per $100,000 of household income is the tax rate going forward over the next 20 years to support this $25 million proposal. And Kevin, this is really something that I've used the word emphatic a lot in the first 20 minutes or so of this show to describe the support of this effort. But I mean, I think that really is the best word to describe the support that the community has for West Bloomfield Parks. And no better way to show that than to say, look, we're going to increase your taxes for the next 20 years. And the people of West Bloomfield, the vast majority of them saying, sure thing, we love our parks, we want to support.
Yeah. Yeah, see, in the ultimate thing, you hit it, you said it already, Tyler. Essentially, it's the community supporting what they feel like is necessary within the community. We already talked about the fact that 50% of the residents here are 50 and older. So that type of thing is necessary for our older residents. So absolutely, it was in mind. They said they've been working on it since 2019, but due to COVID, some things happened, but now everything happens for a reason, and it finally came to fruition.
Yeah, even before 2019, this was something that was in discussion, as I mentioned with Vincent Kirkwood. Robert Brooks, the chairperson of the board, he's a longtime Parks and Recreation Commission member, had said that this is something that the board has been considering for a very long time. They just haven't been able to find that right recipe, that right group of improvements to put out to the community, that right timing also between economic hardships in the late 2000s heading into the 2010s to the COVID-19 pandemic. I mean, just the way that impacted the Connect Senior Center within a year of its opening has been dramatic in recent years. And that's just gotten back to a stable point where it's in a set location here in West Bloomfield. And now they know there's a sense of permanence going forward. The bond has passed. That Recreation Activity Center going to undergo a massive improvement. It'll be great for our seniors. It's going to be a new hub for recreation, pickleball courts, a gymnasium, meeting space. It's going to be a great gathering area, all at Town Hall. And you're taking the effect too, Kevin, that's right next door to the library and to Town Hall and to the police department. I mean, anything you need to do for your regular township business, you can do there. You can get some quiet time to de-stress at the library. You can have some fun time at the Recreation Activity Center. I mean, Town Hall really is becoming the center of this community.
The central hub. Yeah, that's what I was saying. As we're adding and developing more, and we also know that we have our people in positions of authority with the police there also, so we know it's safe. We know we have resources there, information there. It just makes it 10 times better. So I think it just continues to talk about the development and growth of our greater West Bloomfield community.
More election results from across our community, live, local, social, unofficial results available through Oakland County on CivicCenterTV.com. Right at the top of the page, CivicCenterTV.com. We got those sliding images that will take you through all the important stuff we're doing here at Civic Center TV. Your election results are paramount to that. So you click that link right away. It'll take you directly to the results page that's also found through Oakland County's website through the clerk's page. And you can find even more information on races across Oakland County, including in the greater West Bloomfield area. Another good way to go about that, scan this QR code on your screen on CivicCenterTV.com. That'll go to our social media. We'll post a link to those unofficial results on our Facebook page, on our Twitter page as well. And of course, you'll see a lot of these results here on our show today, also on our YouTube at Civic Center TV. Continuing on, we mentioned with Vincent Kirkwood being one of the four that passed through the Democratic primary onto the general election in November from the Democratic side on Township Board. The top three on that list of four candidates: Diane Rosenfeld-Swimmer, an incumbent, receiving 24.8% of the vote in the August 6th primary, following in a close second Jonathan Warshay with 18.1% of the vote, and then both third and fourth on that list, rounding out the Township Board candidates, incumbent Jim Manna, essentially reelected, receiving just 13 more votes than Vincent Kirkwood, who also received roughly 17% of the vote. That likely to be your new Township Board of Trustees come the end of this election cycle. In terms of the chief leadership, those three full-time elected officials: supervisor, clerk, treasurer. Nothing expected to change there going forward. There was a challenger for incumbent supervisor Steve Kaplan in this race. Former supervisor David Fleischer running against him for the Democratic primary nomination. Steve Kaplan defeated the former supervisor, receiving 78.6% of the vote. Just over 10,000 votes cast in that race in the Democratic primary. He is now running unopposed for supervisor in November. There were a marginal number of unassigned write-ins on the Republican side for the supervisor position. In terms of the West Bloomfield Township clerk, same thing goes. Debbie Binder ran unopposed, receiving 8,884 votes in the process in the Democratic primary. There were no Republican candidates. However, 189 Republican unassigned write-ins were cast for that race. Very similarly in the Township treasurer race, where Terry Weingarten also ran unopposed, receiving 8,435 votes. No Republican candidates on the ticket, and 128 unassigned write-ins in the Republican section of this election. Finally, the big race here in the greater West Bloomfield area that's kind of county-wide, encompasses many of our communities, especially in the Tri-Cities. That big battle between Kristen Nelson and Keego Harbor Mayor Rob Kalman for the Democratic nomination for the Oakland County Board of Commissioners 10th District. Incumbent Kristen Nelson defeating the mayor of Keego Harbor with 63.7% of the vote. She will face Republican Greg Marinelli in November, who ran unopposed in the Republican primary. We have reached out to Kristen Nelson for comment. Hopefully we'll be able to talk to her later on, or get that for you on civiccentertv.com. But congratulations to all the candidates here in the greater West Bloomfield area and affecting the greater West Bloomfield area that won their races on Tuesday night. Now, also, we mentioned earlier on in the show, as we began the live program today, not all precincts had reported in Oakland County. There were about 30 remaining precincts this morning that did not have 100% of their results in. As we went through this live show, that did change. In fact, as we talked to Megan Tahako, I had mentioned the Bloomfield Hills Schools millage proposal had passed through with about 6,000, just under 7,000 votes. Their operating millage renewal had passed. We previously had the new superintendent, Rick West, on the program, who had talked about information on that as well. So for those in the greater West Bloomfield area, in the Bloomfield Hills School District, that operating millage also passing on Tuesday in the August 6th primary. Still, plenty of competitive races going forward. We'll continue to have our coverage of the election as we approach November, with not only the presidential race being very important to our community, but those local races ever important as well. We'll take a quick break. Plenty more to get to across our community. We'll go from elections to some fun stuff happening in our schools and for car lovers across the greater West Bloomfield area. Live, local, social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
Hi, my name's Megan Tahako. I'm the Marketing and Communications Manager for West Bloomfield Parks. Congratulations to Civic Center TV for reaching 1 million views on YouTube. We appreciate all you do in this community to help share our stories. Megan Tahako, proud to be one in a million.
Good nutrition can help make sure you have enough iron, calcium, and vitamin C in your body, which can make it harder for lead to enter your bloodstream. Help protect your family from the harmful effects of lead.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Want to enjoy Civic Center TV on your social media? Find us on Instagram at Civic Center TV. Get notified when we upload one of our interviews, full episodes, and more. Thank you for watching and listening to Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, social, it's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Alongside Kevin McIntosh, I'm Tyler Kieft. Plenty of fun coming up in the greater West Bloomfield area as we get ready to go back to school, and there's going to be a lot of people wanting to get to know some of the new leaders in place as elementary schools shift around our school district as we go from 5 to 4 elementary schools for the 2024-25 school year and beyond. Kevin McIntosh from our team has more.
Yeah, actually, the West Bloomfield School District has this elementary popsicles with the principal event, and it will be held at all West Bloomfield elementary schools Wednesday, August 21st, 4 to 6 p.m. To explain a little bit more about that event in detail, joining me right here on The Splash, we have Principal for Gretschko Elementary, Jennifer Teal, and Principal for Doherty Elementary School, Daniel Spitzley. Thank you for being here first and foremost.
Thanks for having us.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, so I want to ask you two both some questions. Let's just say that's all the information that I have right now. Starting with you, Principal Teal, what is your ultimate goal from this event?
I think this event is a really nice opportunity for students who are returning to Gretschko, but who also might be new to Gretschko in each of our elementary schools, to get a chance to meet each of us, the principals of each of the building, but to also mingle with some of their new friends that they're going to be in school with this year and get just a little bit of a flavor for kind of the student culture and the building as we gear up for another school year.
Interesting. Which I would make the assumption, and I'm glad you made it official. So going on to you, Principal Spitzley, what would be your goals, and ultimately, like, who is this for? Who would you expect to attend this?
So the Popsicle Principal event, I'd say the main goal, I've kind of summed up in the past, is we hope that kids have the opportunity to see some old friends, but hopefully meet some new ones. It's a pretty informal event in that, at least at Doherty, we open up the front playground here. We welcome families of all ages. So our K-Prep would be our youngest here through our 5th grade classes. All students are welcome to come. I would say we generally have definitely our earlier, our kindergarten students, as well as students returning to Doherty or coming to Doherty for the first time, typically tend to make it because it's an opportunity to see some names and see some faces. But again, in a pretty informal setting. Like I said, the hope is kids get to play, families get to mingle. There are staff members that are there. And then one of the other main goals that we have here is some of the logistical pieces. Instead of sending 5, 6, 7-year-olds with a ton of supplies and materials on that first day of school, we open up the hallways in the classrooms so that parents and students can bring those materials right down to the classes. So it also makes some of the first day of school stuff a little bit easier.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I'm understanding. So that way the smaller kids aren't walking with heavy backpacks full of supplies that's dragging them down. I get it. See, I don't even think about that. I have a young child and he's not there yet, but thank you. So that's thinking ahead. With us right here on The Splash Live, we have both Principal for Gretschko Elementary, Jennifer Teal, and Principal for Doherty Elementary, Daniel Spitzley, which we appreciate. Talking about the Popsicles with the Principal's event, August 21st, by the way. So, Principal Teal, just in general, how do you feel this event is beneficial to relationships, or just in the past, how do you feel like it has benefited relationships?
I think one of the nice parts of this is that it's kind of low stakes. I think the start of the school year, whether you're a kindergartner or a 5th grader, there's a lot of emotions that come with the start of the school year. And this feels a little bit different. You're still probably, you're there with a grown-up. It's a little bit more casual. You're not there for the whole day. It kind of gets everybody warmed up for the school year without the pressure of some of those first day jitters. So I think building relationships under those circumstances really helps the kiddos, whether it's with some new friends, old friends, getting to see a teacher's face, getting to meet the principal and the office staff. I think it just kind of helps them to be reassured on that first day of school that they've kind of already seen everything and they can just get right back into it. So we've really seen a nice smooth transition when it comes to the first day of school. I think largely because we have those opportunities for kids to feel comfortable before we actually get the school year rolling.
Got you. Very, very interesting. And with you, Principal Spitzley, asking you, what are we expecting, or what can people, students, and parents look forward to the new school year at Doherty Elementary?
Yeah, I think at Doherty and in the total of 4 buildings, with the realignment piece, Jen and I have been fortunate enough to lead buildings of just kind of the smaller friends, our K2 friends. We're looking forward to opening up the doors to our 3, 4, 5, and some of the leadership opportunities and some of the unique things that brings to the table to have that wider span of ages. And then similarly at Chico and Scotch, they historically for the last, I think, 11 or 12 years have been 3 through 5. And to welcome in some of the young friends. And so I would say looking forward to bringing together more grades. Also bringing together, most of us have returning a pretty significant part of our staff, so there'll be a lot of familiar faces. We're also in a unique spot at Doherty where the majority of our students that are returning to us to make up our upper L actually already came through Doherty. So Doherty in particular is going to be surrounded by a lot of familiar faces, a lot of families that have been here, a lot of friendships that have already been in place, but hopefully some new friends and some new staff members that we're integrating in that to hopefully make it just an exciting, enjoyable school year full of student growth, academically, emotionally, and socially.
Absolutely. I love to hear that. And I'm glad you clarified too. Popsicle with a principal event will be Wednesday, August 21st, 4 to 6 p.m. at all 4 elementary schools, Scotts Elementary, Gretschko, Chico, Doherty Elementary as well. And we do appreciate both of you being here. Principal for Gretschko Elementary, to Jennifer Teal, and principal for Doherty Elementary, Daniel Spitzley. Before we let you go, I have a question for both of you. Just last and final pitch, just in general. Starting with you, Principal Teal, can you just give one more time for anybody listening, parents or students, why should they attend this event again? And then going into you, Principal Spitzley, how can someone who's listening attend this event also? Is there any registration or information they need to know?
I think the why is that it's a great opportunity for children to get ready for the school year in a lower pressure environment, coming over to our buildings to meet the principal, to enjoy a sweet treat, to see what the building structure looks like, see some familiar faces, get to know some friends and classmates that they're going to be spending the school year with. I think it really sets kids up to feel confident and secure as we kick off the school year. And that's always our goal, to make sure that kids have that sense of comfort and belonging, that they can really start their school year strong. So that event we have found in the past, and we know it will continue to be true, really sets them up for success as they begin the school year.
Nice. Principal Spitzley?
Yeah, and you mentioned kind of the how piece. There is no pre-registration necessary. Like Ms. Teal had alluded to earlier, pretty informal, pretty low stakes. It is that 4 to 6 window, and it's very much a drop-in setting. So it's not, you don't have to be at the doors at 4 o'clock to have access. Most of these actually takes place outside, with the exception of bringing in materials. I would just encourage any families that are already registered or working in that process or intend to, just keep an eye on your communication from your office staff. We will kind of have some directions. I know Doherty, we have some unique parking challenges. So we will send out some communication ahead of time saying, hey, if the weather's this way, here's some alternate options. But again, nothing to pre-register for. 4 to 6 is that window of time. You could come at 4, you can come at 5. Some families will be here for 10 minutes and they can kind of get all their goals met, and other families might stay on the playground and play for a couple hours. But again, informal, nothing to do ahead of time, and keep an eye out for that communication coming from, I would say, specifically your school's office staff.
There you go. Perfect place to land the plane. And we appreciate both of your time for being here as we prepare for the school year. We wish you both good luck. Principal for Gretschko Elementary, Jennifer Teal, and Principal for Doherty Elementary, Daniel Spitzley. We appreciate your time.
Thanks so much for having us. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Absolute pleasure, Tyler, talking to community leaders who are really role models and leaders for our youth right here in West Bloom, and starting off in the school too. So I'm glad that they explain, not only have this event, but I'm glad they explain why it's very, very important for the youth and parents in our community.
Yeah, it really is, and especially considering the fact that we're switching up our schools this fall, because we're going from 5 elementary schools with the closing of Roosevelt and the redistricting that happened and was announced in the spring. We're going down to 4 elementary schools, and they're going to be in different locations. Chico is not going to be next door to us. It's going to be at the old Abbott and the most recently Roosevelt building on Orchard Lake and Commerce in Keego Harbor. And then our other 3 elementary schools are going to have some shifting people coming in to those communities as well. So it's about building the new community. It's about getting the parents to know the teachers and the administrators they'll be communicating with, the kids to get to know their classmates, get to know some of their teachers and their principals too, and get acclimated to that new environment so that when they go in for the first day of school, it's not so intimidating. So popsicles with the principal, great way to break that in and get people familiar with their new schools. Of course, more information on that and other things happening in the West Bloomfield School District as we approach the school year, wbsd.org. Kevin, it's also an exciting time for people who love to explore local car culture. We've told people all the last couple weeks about the West Bloomfield High School Robotics Car Show. And look, if you can't get out to that this coming Sunday, there's something happening the very next day. That's really the unofficial start of the Woodward Dream Cruise season here in West Bloomfield and has been for many years.
Yes, this Monday, August 12th, all sorts of vintage and classic cars will be featured at the 27th annual Geno's Pre-Dream Cruise. And that'll be taking place at Geno's Restaurant in Santia Hall parking lot as well. And it's a chance for the community and everyone to come out to cruise in on one cold, very, very time machine trip back to see these vintage cars show up in 2024. And with us right here live to give us a preview of the event, we have owner of Geno's Restaurant, the man himself, Gino Santia. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning, Kevin.
Thank you for being here. Let's go all the way back. I'm not sure if you've told the story here before, but let's tell it again. The origins of how the Pre-Dream Cruise start. Can you please?
Well, it was 1998 was our first year we did it. What happened was they had just started the Dream Cruise on Woodward, I think the year or 2 years prior, and I happened to be down there. I think we were having a class reunion, a West Bloomfield class reunion, and we all decided to go down to Woodward. And it was just so exciting down there. I thought, boy, I wish I could do something like that. And one day I just decided to do it on a Monday before the cruise weekend, and I put it on our billboard, Classic Car Show tonight. And the first year we did it, that was the only advertising I did. We had about 60 cars show up. And since then, we've had well over 200 every year. It's an annual event.
That is crazy. And that's good. That's good. 27 years growth. Can you just talk about how the event has evolved over the years since that time?
Well, we have, and what we do, if you'll look at the shirt that I've got on right now, it's got a picture of a 1964 GTO, Pontiac GTO, and so it happens to be the 60th year for the GTO. And every year, last year we did the Volkswagen bus. It was an anniversary year of that. So we kind of accent on what could be going on that particular year, an anniversary or whatever. And when they did the road construction, we were shut down. There was no traffic through here except through the back way. But we still had the car show, and we had a black shirt with a truck, with a work truck that was kind of hauling dirt around. It was really kind of cool. People still will wear those shirts. Every once in a while, you'll come across somebody wearing one of those old shirts.
Mm-hmm. That's nice. Going all the way back. I love the connection that I love the passion for the classic cars too. Just knowing that we do have rich automotive history right here in our greater West Bloomfield area. And with us live here on the Splash, we have Gino Santia, owner of Gino's Pizzeria and Restaurant. And we want to talk about also the type of effect that it's had on our local community. With the Dream Cruise, it's a great event, but it's not necessarily right here in our greater West Bloomfield area specifically, which is why we're glad you brought an event here. But can you just talk about how the event has actually impacted the local community, residents and business-wise?
Well, I think other than in our local community here in Keego Harbor, other than the big Memorial Day parade we have every year on Memorial Day weekend, I think this is probably the largest event we have in our community. And I don't know for sure, but I did at one time that City of Keego even had it announced on their website that the date and the classic car show at Gino's. So it's kind of a gathering for the community. People walk here, ride their bikes here. More of the outskirt people will drive here, and it's a full parking lot and it's a full event. We have tents out there with face painting. We have a disc jockey playing music, usually the classic music, the oldies. And we have a hula hoop contest for the kids, a limbo contest for the kids. So it's a happening kind of thing. And we
Love
have food
that
and
right there.
soft drinks and other drinks in the parking lot. Last year was a perfect day. The weather was perfect. We ended up with, I think, 227 cars in our parking lot. All classics.
Wow.
And
it's amazing that you even have the capacity for that.
We do, yes. And another thing we do at the car show, we have trophies, and some of the titles of these trophies that you see, this one here with me that I have right now, this happens to be the best of the show. But we also do best paint job, most original, most unique, coolest muscle car, and of course you got to have Gino's favorite. So we have a committee of people that go around the cars and make judges and pass it over to me, and then we announce it through the microphone.
I love that, Gino. That is so genius. I mean, you started it, you put it together, all of some of your favorite classic cars come through. You do the judging, and then like you said, you also have your own special award for your favorite one. I love that, man. That's very inspirational for myself and anybody else watching who has like that type of passion. So ultimately, what type of cars are there any specific vintage cars we can expect from this year's show by any chance?
Well, we've had the Batmobile here in the past. I'm not sure if it's coming this year. It might be out on a mission this year. I'm not sure, but we've had some really cool cars. Some olders back in the 40s, as well as a lot of 60s classics. Of course, you know, I can relate to those cars myself. I had one myself back then. But yeah, we get quite an array of cars, convertibles, souped up cars, all kinds. It's really cool. Things that you'll see on Woodward Avenue come next weekend.
Yeah. Nice. And like we said, Gino, 27 years as of right now, but we're looking for future growth also. What are your plans for the future for your pre-Dream Cruise event?
Well, nothing different. We're continuing just doing this. You're kind of limited as what we can do. You know, we have just so much parking, so much availability. We lost some of the parking this year because of the Roosevelt School parking lot being closed off. So we talked with the city, and they're kind of working with us a little bit so we can allow some on-street parking somewhere along the restaurant, the hall. Try to make it more convenient for the people. And we're trying to get some golf carts so we can shuttle people around so they won't have to walk so far.
Oh, okay. Very, very convenient, considerate of you for that. And lastly, Gino, for anyone who is interested in attending the event, maybe watching and listening to this for the first time, how could they do so?
Well, just show up, try and find a parking place, and it starts around 4 or 5 o'clock. The cars start pulling in around 2 o'clock. They're trying to jockey for a great spot in the parking lot. And they start showing up early, but the crowds usually come in around 5 o'clock. kind of after work. They kind of just pull in and fill the lot here at the restaurant.
Ooh. Ooh, so absolutely free and open to the community and the public. That's what we love to hear, Gino. Thank you again with us right here on the Splash Live, talking about the 27th annual Gino's Pre-Dream Cruise event. We have Gino Santia, owner of Gino's Pizzeria and Restaurant in Keego Harbor. We appreciate you and your time, sir.
Thank you, Kevin. Come see the show.
The big trophy right there. The big trophy is what we want somebody to walk away with as they pull into their car. Once again, Gino Santia, owner of Gino's Pizzeria and Restaurant in Keego Harbor, talking about the 27th annual Gino's Pre-Dream Cruise that'll be happening Monday, August 12th at his restaurant. Another great event that's happening right here in our area, in our community, Tyler. And I think it's kind of getting us a great start to the car season, I should say.
Yeah, it really is. It's continuing on that car show season after it gets underway on Sunday with the West Bloomfield High School robotics team, to continue that on Monday with an even bigger show for the people in the Tri-Cities. We know people come out from all over. Gino said it himself. It's an extremely popular show that has somehow continued to grow over the years and persist through some hardships, whether it's the pandemic or, of course, even the traffic issues in the last few years with the Orchard Lake Road construction. Always an exciting day out there. Now all we need is for Mother Nature to cooperate on that Monday evening.
Yeah, absolutely. And then going into it, like we said, speaking of the car show season, we'll go into the West Bloomfield High School robotics team car show that'll be happening Sunday, August 11th as well. It's their second annual. It's from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. It'll be at the West Bloomfield High School, by the way. They still have spots available or space available if you just want to attend or go in general. $20 for registration, and it's in the parking lot. Parking opens at 8:30. That's 30 minutes before the event actually starts, and then the judging starts at 11:30. So get there in time to see the vehicles, see them as they're being judged, and then talk to some of the West Bloomfield High School robotics team members also. Music, cars, food, fun. It'll be so much to enjoy out there, Tyler.
Yeah, and then you got the poker rally after that with the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society. Kind of transitions from the car show straight into that, and an interesting afternoon all across our 4 communities and in neighboring areas as well. And then the Historical Society goes from the road to the water. Next week, a fun opportunity to take a drive down Orchard Lake Road. You may, when you do that, see the Pine Lake Marina just off to the right side of the road as you're heading north into Keego Harbor on Orchard Lake Road. And next Thursday, August 15th, from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., you'll get a chance to tour the marina, learn some of the history of this location, including the old-fashioned water taxis that would take people across the lake in our community, some of the summer camps they used to have out on Pine Lake, and a little more about the local trolley transportation that got people to and from the marina and from those water taxis in our community. Now, you do have to register for this event, and there is a cost to attend. That is through West Bloomfield Parks. $8 for residents of our 4 communities and $10 for non-residents. You can register as we speak on wbparks.org. And of course, for more information on other historical events and learning opportunities coming up in our community, follow the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society on Facebook at GWBHS. The Olympics continue on throughout this week, the final week of the Olympics in Paris, but they also just wrapped up, so to speak, right here in Greater West Bloomfield. We sent Jake Schaff out to the Jewish Community Center for more.
As the 2024 Olympic season continues on, another series of exciting games just wrapped up recently right here in southeastern Michigan. The annual Maccabi Games took place right here at the J, bringing Jewish athletes from all across the United States and beyond to compete in some exciting sports and events and to hopefully take home a medal or two. But if you ask some of the people involved, they'll tell you that it's not only winning that truly matters.
Well, what one has to remember is that the Maccabi Games is an opportunity for Jewish youth to get together using athletics as a primary mover and participatory element. But things we do beyond that are doing stuff for the community, doing stuff for the poor, doing stuff in terms of community service and so on. So it's more than just an an athletic experience. It's an experience of making people understand the totality of community and what can happen in the community.
What would you say the Maccabi Games represents for people?
What it represents is an ability for the Jewish community to rally around things which are important to the Jewish world as well as the general community. It's an issue of teaching sportsmanship, teaching fellowship, teaching about the Jewish world, as well as the community in which you live in, and the need to both participate in the general community and be comfortable and strong within the Jewish world.
I feel like they represent connecting with other Jews from like around the world, not just in your country, but like there's people from Israel, Ukraine, Canada, Mexico, like connecting and meeting Jews from all over the world.
Last year I made so many friendships, and like I can say like I'm one of those people that like has friends like outside of like where I live. So then whenever I'm like traveling, I get to see them, and then it's not that you get to see them every day, so it's a good like experience that you get to do.
Honestly, it means everything to me. You know, my mom back home, she like really supports me through everything I do, and I'm just like, it really empowers me that I'm on this team with these fine gentlemen, and I feel really good about it.
How do you hope to see the Maccabi Games continue to grow in the future?
Well, we would love to see it grow in terms of not only the activities. For example, in 1990, when we did the games, we had a number of sports. We had table tennis, we had chess, we had gymnastics. And so I'd like to see more of those activities so that there will be more kids that will see themselves as being able to participate. So while we do volleyball and basketball and hockey and a whole series of other sports, this year we're doing dance. And I'd love to be able to come up with ways that more kids who are not particularly athletic could see themselves as being part of the experience. Because it's, as I said, not an athletic experience only, it's a broader experience of community, of generally getting together and understanding what's going on.
The more opportunities, the better for young aspiring athletes. And the Maccabi Games is the perfect place to put those skills to the test. And the excitement for the Maccabi Games is going to continue next year in 2025 when the games head to Tucson, Arizona and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And hopefully we'll see many more new faces along the way. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jake Schaff.
Between elections and athletics and back to school, it's been a busy week here in Greater West Bloomfield. It's going to continue to be a busy week. We'll continue to cover everything happening across our community, Kevin, and going to be an exciting rest of the week here for us. Thank you for being with us. We want to thank everyone that tuned in to today's program and those behind the scenes making things happen, Calvin Brown and Jake Schaff at Master Control. Alongside Kevin McIntosh, I'm Tyler Kieft. Thanks for tuning in to The Splash Live.